Hey guys, welcome into today's video. This is going to be a brand new series on my channel. It's going to be a foundation a day for 42 days. The reason that I wanted to start this video is that I have 51 foundations in my permanent collection. It's the number 2 item, maybe number 1 right now, of makeup that I really like testing. I'm really into testing new foundations. It switches back and forth usually between blush, eyeshadow, and foundation, my 3 favorite makeup categories, probably a lot of people's favorite makeup categories. But 51 foundations is just too much for me to have in my collection. I recently did a makeup declutter, and I will link that up in the cards, where I went through my whole collection and I decluttered, breaking some of my makeup into 3 different categories: keep, declutter, and then I made up a third, which was items that I want to keep for reference, but I'm going to take out of my permanent collection and move into the closet where I keep makeup that I think is popular, relevant, things that I may want to reference in future videos, but that I don't want to use in my personal everyday life. But I did not do that with foundation. And recently I've gone through a really big skin change. In the last 8 months to a year, I have gone from really, really dry skin to very, very oily skin, and a lot of foundations that used to work for me that were more on the dewy, natural finish side just aren't working these days. So I'm grabbing and loving more matte foundations. So some of my foundations in my collection predate my skin change. So the reason for this series, I don't want to just declutter foundations based on memory. I want to retest a lot of them because some of them are pretty expensive. Some of them I may re-love, some of them I may not like or may not work for me now, and it's time to make that determination. So while I have 51 foundations in my collection, this is foundation a day for 42 days because there are 9 foundations I have already made a decision on. Some of them I'm actually testing. They haven't gone into speed reviews, but I've worn them very recently, so I know exactly how I feel about them, but I will have to move them into wherever they're going to go, keep, declutter, or in the reference pile. And then there are some that I'm testing that I already absolutely love, haven't gone into a speed reviews, and I know that I'm going to be keeping them. And then 2 of them I have already made the decision that I'm going to declutter. Welcome into day 15. Today we're going drugstore, or we're going more affordable option anyway. As you guys can see, we're doing the Catrice HD Liquid Coverage Foundation. I had this in my collection a long time ago, probably in like 2020. I want to say that's like when I tried it for the first time. I ended up decluttering it not only because it was expired, but also because at the time, as you guys probably heard me say earlier in the video, is that I used to have really dry skin. And this was a little bit too mattifying for me back then, but I repurchased this recently because I wanted to compare it against this foundation, which I thought this foundation was duping the Catrice. This is the W7 Genius Featherlight Foundation. Very similar packaging. And this one is one of my absolute favorite foundations. This is a dupe brand out of the UK. Like, I call them a dupe brand because they basically dupe a ton of high-end brands. This one I thought was duping this one, even though this is only like a $10 foundation, but I couldn't figure out what else it could possibly be duping, being in such similar packaging. So anyway, I only purchased this one to compare it against that one. They're very different formulas. They're very different foundation. By the way, I am filming a video later, so I did this kind of vibrant eye look. I want to do a wear test on this one today, and I've only used it once since I repurchased it, so I'm not sure it's gonna stay in my collection because I think I only did like half of a face with this. I didn't do a full day's wear test. So let's go into talking about this and I'll tell you what I remember about it. It retails for $10. It comes in 24 shades. I have mine in the shade 010 Light Beige, which I feel like might be a little bit too dark for me. It's supposed to be an ultra lightweight, sweat-proof, transfer and waterproof foundation with up to 24-hour wear. It says it's best for normal to oily skin. It does have niacinamide in it. This comes with 1.01 fluid ounces. It has a 12-month shelf life, and it is made in Italy. I just remember it being a really mattifying foundation that was super full coverage. I think that it worked fairly well, honestly, even for dry skin, maybe better than some of the other ones that were more mattifying and more full coverage. But I'm really excited to test this all over my complexion today because all the ones that I've been trying that are mattifying and long lasting like this thus far in this foundation a day for 42 days has been high end. I don't think I've tried anything that's been this inexpensive, that's in kind of this formula. And this is the kind of formula that I'm reaching for these days. So I'm going to apply one side with a brush, one side with a sponge. It's the old school dropper, as you guys saw. I think they're proud of that. They kind of say that like on the description on their website, like, oh, in the old style dropper packaging. Like, okay. So that looks amazing, like just amazing on the skin. I like the shade too. The shade for me is probably a little bit deeper than my normal skin tone, but I like that. I don't like to go like my same neck shade. I don't know why I'm like that. It looks full coverage, but I didn't use a whole heck of a lot. So I feel like that amount of coverage is nice. This has a scent to it. It's so pleasant. It smells like full-on moisturizer. It smells like a sweet moisturizer. I don't know if this has any like real added fragrance to it. No, it doesn't seem to have any added fragrance. And also it doesn't have alcohol in it, which a lot of my more mattifying foundations that are full coverage have alcohol. This one doesn't have that. And I hear a lot of comments that people tend to stay away from foundations that have alcohol because it irritates their skin. I think I kind of like it. It doesn't irritate me at all. I'm trying so hard not to tuck my hair behind my ears because it always curls my hair. Taking the other side with a sponge. I think I actually like this side with a brush better. The sponge obviously will soak up some of it, and it did. It just seemed to like apply more evenly. I almost want to just add a little bit more to even the coverage level out. Plus I have some like thing going on right here that we need to get rid of. Thank you. I think it's medium to full coverage. It's not so full coverage that it looks like heavy on my skin. It looks more natural than anything. It is not drying at all, like not right away. It doesn't look overly mattified. I mean, I can kind of still see some radiance throughout my skin. To absolutely beat a dead horse, I am completely reaching for foundations like this these days. So I have a sneaking suspicion that this one is gonna end up being a good one. I now am gonna go finish the rest of my makeup. We're gonna do one final check-in after concealer and powder. Probably powder pretty lightly because this feels like a really powdered finish. It kind of feels like it's a self-setting product. Like you probably wouldn't want to put too much powder on top of this, even for me being oily skin, but I can only tell that really after I do the wear test. So I'll finish my makeup, we'll come back, we'll sit down and look at it, and then I will go about the wear test. So I'll see you guys in just a minute. I mean, I'm a little done up today. I guess a full coverage foundation is fitting for this eye look. I want to know why my freaking left eye droops more than my right eye. It bothers the crap out of me, especially when I wear lashes. I notice it so much more. Anyway, back to the complexion. I think it looks so good. I really hope it is transfer resistant. I hope it is sweat resistant, all of that good stuff, because I could use me a $10 foundation that works really well. That's like a super matte, super long lasting. Because so far, like I told you, everything I've kept has been on the more expensive side that are my like longer lasting mattifying foundations. So let me go away now. I'm gonna go do the natural light check-in for you guys. I will be sure to do the 4-hour one and then we'll come back at least 8 hours. I am so excited for today's wear test. It's been getting more difficult to do these wear tests over and over again, especially because we're only on, what day is this? Day 15. And I had 42 foundations to test out. I may have overcommitted. Anyway, I'll see you guys shortly. Welcome back to 7 p.m. I want to say that I put this on at 10. It was like right at 10 o'clock this morning. Just about 9 hours. Good wear test. Pretty good like weekend wear anyway. Haven't touched a single thing up. Didn't touch it on my nose. I'm really dewy on my nose for some reason today. But there's no breaking apart on the nose. Like no breaking down of the foundation, where like sometimes in foundations, the oils, when they peek through, they break it down and it starts looking patchy or just like kind of cakey on the nose. Nothing like that here. It's just my natural oils coming through, which is good. I feel like that's when you can really powder over a foundation and just kind of refresh it. Let me throw out for you guys what it looked like in natural light. Looked pretty good, pretty smooth. No added texture to my face, which I really like. Some really add like a ton of texture. And it doesn't even have to be a glowier foundation. Some mattifying ones add texture. This didn't have any texture. Let me show you guys again what it looks like at the 4-hour mark. Also, pretty good. A lot better than a lot of other wear tests at the 4-hour mark. You know, this is of course a mattifying foundation that's supposed to be lasting up to 24 hours. I could see it like 4 hours that my particular oils were peeking through. And here we are 9 hours later. Like, don't mind the eyes. The eyes are a hot mess. I had lashes on earlier. I took those suckers off. Anyway, I'm looking at my tally here from days 1 through 14. I almost said 15. But in that, I had kept 8 and had decluttered 6. So I had only kept 2 more than I had decluttered. But I talked about this in my very last video on day 14, which was I was rethinking some of the foundations that I had kept because they were earlier on in the try on. And today I'm going to make a decision to get rid of two that just don't work as well on me. The first one being the Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin. This I think added more texture than I liked and didn't last that long. It's a brand that I want to keep. Like, I want to hold on to this, but I'm going to declutter it. It's not going to stay in my permanent collection. It's going to go into my reference library in the closet. And then I am going to get rid of this. I have had this over a year. This was one that I felt like, by the way, this was the Pat McGrath Sublime Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Foundation, sorry. And I could tell it like has a scent to it. It's kind of smelling like a little bit alcohol-y. I don't remember if this formula has alcohol in it. It could, but I just think that it's expired. Ideally, I would keep this for reference, but I honestly think by smelling it, I've just pushed it too far and this has expired. And I probably don't want to hold on to it in the rare instances that I might actually wear this, because that just means it's going to get even older. So I'm going to declutter those two. So I have to update my notes here just a little bit. Remember now the goal is half. I keep half, I declutter half. That's what we're going for. I already know that I'm going to keep the Catrice because this is a mattifying, longer lasting foundation and it's $10. So it works for me and it's in a lesser expensive price point for a mattifying foundation for me. Getting rid of these two. So the new tally with the Catrice, keeping it, I have decluttered 8 and I have kept 7. I feel good about that at day 15. I feel pretty good that I'm almost at like the halfway mark, which is day 21. Like I told you guys, I might end up ditching the series. I'm not really sure, but I feel good about where we're at now. We've decluttered more than we've kept. That's a wrap for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, I'd love to see you subscribe so you can stick around for day 16 through 42 of foundation a day for 42 days. I'm out of here and I hope to catch y'all in my next video. Bye guys.